All right, thanks for coming today. Very, very fortunate to have a drum group from Lac Du Flambeau, the Lac Du Flambeau Band of the Ojibwa. There are 11 reservation communities in the state of Wisconsin. These gentlemen are from Lac Du Flambeau, and they have performed literally all over the country. Last month, they went to California twice and performed. Unquestionably, they are identified as among the best drumming and singing groups in the state of Wisconsin. They're invited, as I said, to perform everywhere. And we're really, really lucky to have them here with us today. Got to thank a couple people, more than a couple people, but one person in particular. Is she here? Is Jessica here? Jessica Beerbauer? There she is. Let's give Jessica a round of applause. She helped set this up, and has been a really good advocate of the things we do at Prescott High School, and it's great to have a resource like Jessica available. Thank you for all that you've done and all the support you've given the high school. Also, the Prescott Foundation, the Prescott Kiwanis Club, the Anne Marie Foundation, the Prescott School District, and the Prescott Arts Commitment Team, they're the ones who brought these gentlemen over. So without that community support, it's not possible. Again, this is my 30th year here in Prescott, and unquestionably, and nobody's paying me to say this, I'm very, very fortunate to work in a district that recognizes the importance of events like this, because these gentlemen performed at the middle school yesterday and at the high school. So this is their third performance here in Prescott over the last 2 days. Very, very lucky to work in a district that recognizes that what we need to do is we need to know who our neighbors are. These are not just Native people, these are not just tribal members, these are our neighbors. And one of the things I think is important is to having events like this that facilitate understanding and appreciation for the diversity that we have in our state. And again, I cannot say thank you enough to past superintendents. We have a school board member here, Steve Sizemore. The board has been unbelievably supportive of everything that we've done in Prescott, and I can't say thank you enough. Before we start, I want to see how many Lac Du Flambeau alumni are here. How many Lac Du Flambeau Waswaganingers are here? So there's a few here. So I wanted to make sure that you know that people have been to your community. So, and I'll talk more about that opportunity after we're done. So. With that, they're going to start us off with a song. Make sure your cell phones are off. You can take pictures. Can they take videos if they want to? Is that okay? Videos, feel free if you want to, but we don't want them ringing or anything going off during the performance. So let's give it up for Tomahawk Circle. introduce these guys one at a time. First of all, we have Mr. William Mitchell Sr. right there. We have William Mitchell. Right here, we have Henry Mitchell. Right here. Right here, we have Desmond Mitchell. Right here, we have William Mitchell Jr. And last but not least, we have Wilbur Mitchell. Yes, Wilbur Mitchell. So, these guys are members of Tomahawk Circle, have been performing for Prescott students for well over a decade. And whether it be whether it's raining or whether it's snowing, we always appreciate the fact that these gentlemen always make themselves available to Prescott. And you know, a lot of Prescott students have not only had the opportunity to hear them play, but there's people here in the audience that have had an opportunity to dance. And if anybody wants to dance, like Cody Roll, you want to dance and demonstrate that for everybody? Is Cody out here or is Cody?
He's walking up right now.
Walking up, okay. He's bringing the coffee, right?
Yep.
Okay. So anyway, could have him play another song, and one of the things I think is really, really important to understand, I think, is when I hear these guys sing, I always think, how do you do that? How do you make that noise? How do you sing like that? It's really, really fascinating for me to hear the vocables that come out. Speaking of the last song, if you didn't notice, there are no words to that song. It was a song that included vocables. Now when we say vocables or non-lexicals, and I use this example because I can't think of anything else to use, I'm assuming you've heard of the song Deck the Halls, la 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 la. It's the same type of thinking there. It's chanting, it's vocables that made up the last song. And what's also interesting for me, and I don't consider myself even close to really understanding the drumming and the singing, but having been to a few powwows, you begin to pick up on the differences, the differences in the beat and the cadence. And I think the novice or people who've heard it for the first time say all the songs sound the same, but they really, really are different. So hopefully you'll hear that throughout their performance today. So whenever you guys are ready, you play a second one. After their second song, if you've got some questions you'd like to ask, that would be good. We can give them a little break because it's tough on the vocal cords to sing like this. So. again, I don't profess to know a lot about it, but I do know that when they're playing, you can see there are times where four of the drummers will back off, and then one of the drummers, boom, 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 really loud. Those are called honor beats. Honor beats. And what's really, really interesting for me going to a powwow, and it doesn't matter if it's these guys or somebody else who's playing, the dancers then react, and there are certain things that they do in reference to those honor beats. Is that typical for all drums? They'll have an honor beat, whether it's northern or southern. Do they always? Is that something that's commonplace? Okay. Does anybody have any questions they'd like to ask? Back there, please.
How do the songs originate? Where does the foundation of the songs come from?
Some people make their own, like we make our own. I got a couple nephews that can make them. That song that we just got done singing, my nephew made that song. He's a Menominee. He's part Ojibwe too, but he's gone now. He made that song before he passed away. That's his song. That was his song, my nephew's. That's got words in it. It's got Menominee language in it. But we learned that song from him. And there's different songs in the way they go. There's old, like if you listen to some old school tapes that people recorded from way back in the day. We'll just pick the songs up and sing them again, But most of the time, a lot of people make their own. There's a lot of people that are gifted to do that, to make their own songs, with words or just melody, it comes to them. But yeah.
It's definitely a lot harder than you would think, though.
Yeah, just don't, but there's a lot of good people out there that make songs, and they'll give you songs, here, sing this, give this to you.
Are they written down anywhere?
No.
Where are they? Where are the songs?
Right here. Yeah, it's not written down. Or on a recorder. Yeah, some people, they'll tell you, they'll talk the language, and then they'll explain to you what it means,
Okay.
But yeah, otherwise the melody ones, it's all in how you catch on to it, I guess.
How many songs do you all know?
Thousands.
Thousands.
Oh, too many.
Could you talk, if you'd be willing to, talk about like the process, like who the lead is and like how, who is the lead singer and who decides who sings and you respond to this. Could you talk about that just a little bit, Henry? I'm sorry, not Henry. I'll put you on the spot later, Henry. Go ahead, Will Jr.
Well, I'm lead singer. I'm the one that has to get these guys in shape, get together again. But then it's just, we pick, I don't know, it's just, for singers, we just been singing all our lives, like to sing, have fun.
As far as leads, I guess they don't matter who. I guess whoever wants to take.
Whoever can lead.
Whoever can lead.
So whoever leads and then everybody responds after the.
Yeah.
Okay, that's what I was looking for. You have somebody who sings and then you all respond.
Yeah, but it's like they call it a second.
A second.
Yeah. Basically.
It's like every little bit, one of us gets a little solo, I guess you might say. Chance to shine.
Question in the back, yeah.
Yeah, so our two questions. Do women ever play the drums, and at what age do your musicians start to do their music?
Well, women, the way we come from in the Ojibwe style is women don't sit around the drum, but they're more than welcome to stand behind us and sing. But there's tribes like out west, out in Montana, out in Idaho and Utah. There's tribes out there where they let their women sit right on the drum and sing.
Really?
Yeah, there's different tribes out there that allow that, but we don't allow that. And as for starting singing, like all these boys, they've been singing since they were small. That's when I learned. I learned when I was probably 5 years old. I've been singing for over 45 years. And I used to sing with my dad when he was alive. And now I got my boys here. That's a good feeling, man. To sit around and do this with my family. And we travel, we take it to a professional, we step it up to a professional performance. You know, we go all over. Like Jeff said, we just got back from California. We were out there for a weekend, and we drove back home and turned around and flew back out there. And we went to like out to Banning and San Manuel. And we go all over. It's just a matter of, in the summertime we start probably end of May, middle of May, and we're still going every weekend. Throughout the whole summer we go. You know.
And tonight you're playing again. You're performing
Yeah,
again
we got
tonight.
ceremonies back home that we do a different kind of drum. They call it a big drum. But we use that's our ceremonial drum, and then we only use it back home. And we got to get back home today. We got to. Actually, they're doing it right now. There's like 2 ceremonial drums in Flambeau, and they're using the one last night and today, and then tonight they'll use the other one. And that's why we got to get back. We got to do that tonight, tomorrow, all day tomorrow.
Where do you get your drums?
This one here come from one of my friends I met out in Seattle made this drum. But I got a brother-in-law back in Flambeau that makes them. This is just like a plywood shell. All he did was take a piece of 1/4-inch plywood and kind of got it wet and bent the radius.
Really?
And then there's just boards and then it's screwed together.
Deer skin on the
These are elk hides.
okay.
They use buffalo hides, they use elk hides, steer, cow, and but we got a lot of different drums. My brother-in-law made, and then we bought a drum off that come from a guy from Michigan that made. We got like 7 or 8 of these at home. Our little drum keeper ain't with us. He stayed home. He had to work yesterday, so. But we got them all in a little room at home. And
Got a beautiful voice.
thank you.
Can I add something about why women do not sit at the drum? Just the story is a really old story as to why. It takes a long time to tell the story. From what I've been able to hear other people say, that it's not just women can't play at the drum because we don't want them to play. It's an old an old story, is it not? There are cultural reasons, according to the Ojibwa,
Yes.
that these are old teachings and these are the reasons why. So it's a real involved story. So
I got nieces that are champion singers. They're in their 20s and their 30s, but they've been singing since they were little bitty babies, you know. And they sing behind their father. The drum is called the Smoky Town Singers. They're from the Menominee Reservation. I sang with my brother-in-law for over 20 years, and them girls are some beautiful singers. And then these big contest balls, we go compete for anywhere from $10,000 to $20,000 a weekend. And there's different contests they got. They call it the Canary Contest, and that's for the women behind you. And my nieces, boy, they won pretty much all of them.
if you go to a powwow, like if you come up next summer, you'll see times where you have the drum group, and then there will be canaries that will be around the drum singing, and they sing an octave above, and it's spectacular to hear that.
They put on some really nice powwows just across the river over here in Ferry Island. They put one on there, and they put another big powwow on over here in Shakopee. And they put up a lot of money for their contests, you know. $20,000-$30,000 first place singing contest.
If you had canaries with you, would they do the echoing and the second, first and second, kind of like
They
that?
come in like after the second, like maybe like a third away into the song, they'll come in, then they'll finish it all the way out.
With you guys?
Yeah.
Before they play another song, again, these guys coming from all over, from way over the eastern part of the state, I'm going to ask for a free will offering. If you could maybe find a way, Matt Carroll, to put a dime in. That'd be great, or something like that. So I'm just gonna pass this around, and I'm joking, Matt.
Excuse me, where is the powwow? Is that famous Owen Farm, or is it the powwow at Treasure Island?
It's right on the reservation.
It's right on the reservation. It's right
across from the casino.
Right across the
Like
casino.
right across from
They
the
usually have it second weekend in July.
July. Yeah.
And I used to go to Sweat Lodge right to the left, and when you went in there, the Owen Farm, I didn't know it was still there.
I don't know. I haven't been there for quite a few years, but I know there's a big.
Oh, thank you.
Because every time they have their powwow over there, we got ceremonies back home, so I can't go nowhere. I gotta stay home.
After the 4th of July, typically, and I think that's about what the dates will be this summer. I think the Bear River Powwow is the July 12th through the 15th. It's that weekend, I think, or it's the 11th through the 14th.
Usually the second weekend in
Second,
July.
second weekend of 4th of July.
Right
Sometimes
after the 4th, basically.
Right,
Yeah.
right. So next summer, like we did last year, we'll take a summer trip, and last year we had about 30 people that came up, and it was great. One of the highlights, of course, is going to the Bear River Powwow, and we spend all day on Saturday, and we all dance. We provide some pretty good entertainment for the locals. Being out there trying to dance, and you know, the rules are that if one person from Prescott dances, everybody dances. So again, like I said, we collectively embarrass ourselves. So that's what we do. But it's a really, really good time. And one of the things we did last year, I've done the last couple of years, we've got some people here in the audience that know what I'm talking about. where we volunteer at the Pow and we serve the meal, serve the feast to some 300, 400 people that are there. And that's really, really fun to be able to do that and meet the people and interact. So again, it's a great 4 days. A lot of stuff, a lot of learning, a lot of it's just great fun, and it's fun to go up there and have people say, "Oh yeah, you're that group from Prescott. You're those people from Prescott." So that's fun, and we're really proud of the reputation that we have with that community. So anybody have another question? Got a question they'd like to ask, perhaps? No other questions? No questions. Yes.
So that last song, was it like, is there, I know there's not words, but is it anything, you know, like is it?
That last song we sang, it's an old Ojibwe sidestep, they call it. It's a healing song for jingle dress dancers, women. Back in the day, that this healing dress they make is this out of these. A lot of them made them out of. They still do today. They make them out of snuff covers, Copenhagen cans. Have you ever seen a jingle dress? They got them rolled and they come off their regalia, you know, their cones. And that dress originated from Ojibwe people in Mille Lacs, Minnesota. That's where they originated from back in the day. So that song goes with them jingle dress dancers. It's called a sidestep.
And it's really, again, going back to the powwow, when that song is played, then the jingle dress dancers will be out there and you can see the differences. Yeah. That's what's really, really fascinating to me, is that it helps you recognize and realize the songs are different. Because, okay, this is a jingle dress dance. And again, full disclosure, those cones that are used, the tops of snuff cans, doesn't mean the people wearing them chewed all that snuff. Okay? It doesn't mean that. Okay? But yeah, that's a common thing. They order those. You can order those, right?
Yeah.
And they get them when they make the dresses.
They're already pre-rolled, or you can roll them yourself.
There's always vendors at the Pow Wows that sell regalia beads.
Right, and that's another thing. When we talk about going to a powwow, when you see the outfits or the regalia that are worn by dancers, it's not a costume. It is regalia, or it's an outfit. You know, it's not a Halloween costume. And some of these outfits, the regalia, is really, really spectacular. Some of it very, very simple, but you might have eagle bustles, or you might have feathers, or things that they dance with that literally are decades old. Something maybe their great-grandfather made for them, and they're dancing with that. Sometimes you'll have people who don't make good decisions. They'll come up and they'll touch regalia, they'll touch something, and you know, it's again just a question of understanding and appreciating and respecting you know, the culture. So
your ceremony tonight, will that have dancers?
Yeah, it's totally different how we do our ceremonies. The women aren't allowed to stand up or dance, just the men folk. It's just the way we do it in our ceremonies. It's totally different. This is, they call it, this drum phase here is, they call it a fun time drum. So social drum, you know. I'm allowed to take this and go perform with it. And as of our ceremony drums, we got to keep that humble. We keep it pretty humble, and there's just members that go. But it's for the public too, but it's for Native American public, you know. And there's a lot of people that come from different communities. You know, we get some Ho-Chunk people that come over, and some people from like Wisconsin Rapids, and we get some Menominee people that come over, and some Forest County Potawatomis too. Because there's them big drums that stayed in Flambeau. They're all over the state of Wisconsin, and there's big drums over by St. Croix, up in the Sandy Lake area. There's big drums in Wisconsin Rapids. There's big drums over in the Menominee Reservation, and there's big drums in Crandon over in the Potawatomi area too.
So could you go over to one of those areas and just play on their drum, and could they come and just play on your drum, or is there like certain?
Yeah, there's certain that you gotta be, well, there's members you gotta be put on there. You know, so, but if they say if you belong to one, you belong to them all. So, you know, and we go to different ones, you know, because they come as visitors too, and we go when they have their ceremonies with. If we're available, we'll go.
Right.
You know, you're supposed to go all the time. That's what you're told when you get sat there. They give you a little dish bag, and they always tell you hear about a ceremony going, you take your dish bag and you go. You're supposed to help them out. That's what I was always told. But yeah, that's why we got to get home today, because we got to start today about 4 o'clock.
One other thing, and I asked them to play a couple more songs before we have lunch provided for them by some people. It wasn't until 1978 where Native people could exercise their freedom of religion. It was against the law. One could make the argument that the ceremonies that William was talking about, it was illegal. Native people are the last people in the United States who gained the right to, quote, worship or practice the culture. And I find that fascinating. So that's within my lifetime. So technically it was against the law for them to do this until 1978. And I always say that Native people with ceremonies, I've never been told that I can't be a visitor or can't watch. But obviously when Native people say, you know, that's just for Native people, I would say there's probably a history as to why they are very guarded about what they do, because you know, we've taken those things away before. So why do you want to know? And that's why when I go up to Lac Du Flambeau, it's taken a while for Prescott to develop a reputation that we're coming up there for the right reason. We're coming up there to learn, we're coming up there to listen, and I think that's why our relationship with your community is so good, because I think you guys know that we just want to learn and we want to listen. And I think it goes a long way. And I think the respect that we, students especially, and the community members that have been up there has just been fantastic. You know, I sit there and brag about my community a lot, and I have every reason to brag about it. So being protective of who you are, I think if you know anything about the history of Native people, I think it would make sense that they would be protected. So. A couple more songs, or?
Yeah.
Questions? Another question.
Why do you have dollars on your drum?
Great question. Why do you have dollars on your drum?
Well, when we go to Powwows, people ask us to sing like honor songs and stuff like that for them and stuff, and there's a lot of people that throw money on our drum while we're singing. So we'll just pick it up and out of respect, and we'll just tie it on a drum, and then there might be some place we go, and we might run a little short on some gas money. And we can always depend on our drum to get us home. So that's one of the reasons why we put it on there, you know. Some of these dollars been on here for a long time. Some we just put on there, but there's always a day, you know, it'd be hot or something. You sit around in a pow and it's 100 degrees, you know, tear off a $10 bill. And tell the boys go get us some sodas or some waters, you know. Yeah, it all helps out on the end, you know. Mostly we use it for gas money, you know, if we need it.
You said there have been times too where you've used it to repair the drum, right?
Yeah, we bought hides with it. These hides don't last forever. You know, sometimes they rip, and then they just get old. They start flaking. And it all depends on how and where you store your drum too. If it's in a real dry spot, it's gonna really tighten up, and where you can see these holes where the laces come here, they'll rip. They'll rip right through because it gets too tight. You know, it's pretty good to put your drum in a nice where it's nice and cool, or it ain't so dry, you know. Room temperature, it'll last a while, but like days like today, like in the evening times, when the sun goes down and she starts to get real cool, these really loosen up and it'll sound just like a box, real flat. And so we always carry a heater with us, just a regular Coleman heater. We'll just warm it up, or they got a fire. They usually got a fire at the Powwow, and we go just warm that drum up and get this real nice and hot. She'll tighten right back up like that, and then it'll sound good and bring that pitch back up. But yeah, these hides right here, they don't last forever. Like I said, you know, we take that money and we'll buy new hides and replace the hides. So we try to save a little bit all the time.
Any other questions? Got one question here from Mr. Wolf.
I'm looking at your drumsticks, and it looks like they're high-tech to me. Am I correct?
Well, that's another thing too. There's all different people throughout Indian country that make these, and all they are is leather, and the handle is just pretty much tape underneath. They just tape it, and all this is real fine, good tape work. So they cut it and make it look fancy, and this is just leather. You know, we got buddies that we buy them off of. Like usually, we'll try to buy a set that's matching. My son just bought this one out in California. We're gonna probably buy a set like that, so they're all matching. We usually pay about anywhere from $250 to $300 for a set of 12. So we'll have 12 drumsticks, all the same. And believe me, we went through quite a few of them throughout the years.
These are just our old ones.
Yeah, we got a bunch of
They're
sets.
not what I thought they were.
And all they are is made out of a fiberglass fishing rod. Just like a bike flagpole. You know, that's all. Go to the hardware store and cut off a piece about 20 inches long. That's all they're made out of.
We got one with a golf handle here.
Oh yeah, the ones are made out of the end of a golf handle.
Royal grip, it says.
Yep, they're just stuck on the end of them. You know, people try to be fancy.
So that golf club one that you have, Desmond, that's an Ojibwa. That's traditional golf club. Joey's got a club.
Are there different kinds of sticks?
Yeah, there's like, this is another old one.
Some of them, I don't know if we got any fluffy
Checkered one.
We got a Viking stick in there actually.
You do?
Short mean one.
Oh, I threw it away.
But there's some that got like a real fluffy, like a fur, you know, like just like a regular fur. And they use them fur sticks on like if this hide was real thin, like a deer hide, you know, it's real thin, and you don't want to hit it with a real heavy stick because it'll just rip. But if we get them little fluffy heads, and just, you know, makes a whole different tone. That's how they used to have sticks way back in the day in the old school. And before they come around, like in the 80s, early 80s and stuff, a lot of these people around here use regular bass drums that come off a band with the regular, they sit there and tighten them down. That's all I sang on when I started out, was just a little bass drum like that. With the fluffy sticks, it sounds real good, you know? Like beating on a snare drum.
So let's give them a round of applause for